Good morning, everybody. All you Facebookers and YouTubers and other internet people. This is Mike of, guess what? Mike's Magic Auto Detailing and Paint Enhancement here in, I was going to say sunny Sharpsburg, Georgia, but once again, our sun has waned on us, but I hope it gets better a little later on today. I think it is supposed to, and that will help me tremendously if it does, because this 1996 240 SX that I got the ceramic coating on yesterday, finished up late. Well, late for me. If I can pull it out into the direct sunlight for a little while, it will speed up the curing process, I believe, to a certain degree. It's looking good, looking good. And as it cures, the shine and gloss will enhance, and that finish will get harder and harder and harder. And then after it fully cures, probably sometime this evening, I will go back and I've decided on a relatively new product, a titanium based topper on it, which will increase the gloss even more. Has some filling capabilities, but not much with the ceramic coating when it goes on over the top of that, I wouldn't think. But it will be slick. That'll be one of those situations where my refrigerator magnet probably will not stick on this car. We'll see. We'll experiment. So all the painted surfaces have been ceramic coated, everything. The headlights, I decided to ceramic coat those. The tail lights, all those little nooks and crannies. The wheels have been ceramic coated, if you're out there somewhere, roamy. So, and I will also top those, so that the advantage of this newer product supposedly is that it will cure to a much harder finish than the SiO2 sealant topper would, and should last way longer and will not be as susceptible to contaminants bonding onto it or water spotting, that sort of thing. As I said earlier, we have a pretty good high quality sealant on the glass, but other things you may or may not notice is that we took the solution finish. I'll try to get up close. Y'all remember our owner wanted this spoiler restored, and it was turning gray. You know how that stuff discolors? I'm sure most of you have experienced that. But we restored the spoiler. It turned out looking very nice. We did the vent cowl. I think some of you may remember how it was discolored in the same fashion. Hey, Mr. Moore. It was discolored, turning. It wasn't the worst one I've seen by far, but it was starting to get bad. It was stained, and you get all kind of gunk because the air and all that stuff, rain, whatever comes, is not only falling this way, but as you're moving down the road, the way the aerodynamics, I'm told, on this thing is it sucks all that stuff right in here because it's trying to feed fresh air. Anyway, that's what they tell me, but it has been restored. I don't think this was in my original deal with the owner, But once again, I just couldn't help myself, Romy. One of the reasons this took a little extra time, I also restored the trim around the plastic around all the windows, and I think it turned out looking pretty nice considering what bad a shape it was in. So yeah, we did that on both sides. As you can see, I restored this plastic piece that the rear view mirror is mounted to. Turned out looking very nice. This ceramic coating looks really good, Mr. Moore. Really good. And I finished putting this on about 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock last night. And it takes 24 hours for it to cure to the point where I can do anything with it. It is still curing right now, even though it looks good, but as it cures more and more and more, the shine will get better and harder. This will dry to a very hard finish, and this, as opposed to a sealant or a wax, will last for years, not months, years. And I've pointed it out to you guys before. As you can see, all this trim, as I pointed out on the passenger side, has all been restored with solution finish, and it will get a protectant put on it as well. It takes, you know, the solution finish, it takes time for it to dry and cure. And if you decide to order some and use it, follow the directions. They're there for a reason. It's not one of those things you're going to put it on, an hour later it's ready to go. No, that's not really the way it works. So follow the directions, and once it does fully dry, and you'll be able to tell, let's see if this is dried. You can walk up, rub your finger on it. If you don't come away with any black on your finger, it is probably fully cured. Wear gloves when you put this stuff on. It will stain your hands and fingers. And if you get it on your clothes, it'll stain that as well. Trust me. Trust me. Don't ask me how I know this, but I do. But all that came out very nicely. And I'm happy with the wheels. As you may recall, I did go back and polish those with that nano polisher I showed you guys. But I just wanted to do a quick catch up. I'm going to get started on the interior, the door jambs, in the trunk, and all that kind of stuff here in just a few minutes. And I'm hoping the sun will come out, and if it does, I will back her out into the driveway, which will help this stuff cure better. But it can't get wet. It can't get wet. The ceramic coating can't not get wet, and that includes dew from outside. And as a matter of fact, you're not supposed to wash the car for 3 days. So that's 3 days from late yesterday evening, which was Wednesday. So that means Saturday evening you can let it get wet or wash it. And in fact, if it's possible, I would wait even a little longer if you can. It's a lot of trouble, but it will pay off. It will pay off. Gives this stuff a chance to cure properly. And like I say, it'll protect this paint, which was bad, if you remember, a really pitiful aftermarket paint job. I've improved it, I think, to the maximum, and this helps it look better and will prolong the life of this paint job substantially. Eventually he'll have to have it repainted if he keeps the car long enough, because, you know, it's like building blocks. The basic building block, the paint job itself, wasn't that good. Not a very good quality paint. So we can extend the life of it for a very long time, but not as long as if it were a top quality paint job. You know, these budget places, Sometimes they don't follow the proper procedures, and I think that was a big problem with this paint job. They did not prep properly, didn't do the cut and buff and all that afterwards, the wet sanding and da-da-da-da-da. They didn't put a protectant on there, and over time it has degraded, and they most likely used a cheaper quality paint. All paint is not created equal. It is not. So if you're considering a paint job, research the different types and grades of paint and clear coat before you let somebody do it. If you're planning on keeping the car a long time. If you're not, hell, it don't really matter. Because most of those paint jobs will last a few years, and they will look fine if they're done properly, even though they're using a lower grade paint. Anyway, I just wanted to catch those of you who might be interested up. And we will do a couple more videos on this car, most likely. As I move towards the finish line here, it is in sight, thank goodness. This car has been another marathon for me. I'm just glad I don't have to do the engine bay, which looks pretty good anyhow. Somebody has done a relatively good job of cleaning that up and keeping it clean. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing. But I'm going to start on the interior now, folks, which is not a deep restoration. It doesn't really need that. He just wants the interior spiffed up, which means I will vacuum it thoroughly, and I will wipe everything down with a disinfecting cleaner, especially in view of our situation in this day and time. And I will follow the most of the surfaces up with a protectant, probably 303 aerospace, and I will protect all the fabric as well with the 303 fabric protectant. Of course, clean the inside of the windows and all that. It should take a while, but we're not dealing with a lot of really deep dirt and grime in there, at least at first glance. Of course, you know me, I'll probably go the extra yard and give him a little bit more than what he asked for. That's just my nature. I'm really picky about these cars, I do. And you know what? I think this one has turned out on a par with mine, which is a cheap Mako paint job. Boy. But, crappy paint jobs like this one can be made to look very, very decent. Is it going to look showroom quality? Nope. Is it going to look brand new? Nope. But for an older vehicle with a cheap paint job that is driven on a regular basis, not a garage queen, it's not a trailer queen, it's a car that gets driven, and I think it'll be a little bit more fun to drive around in now. But I appreciate you guys. Thank you very much. Oh, there's somebody's picture up there. It's so little bitty I can't tell who they are. I can't tell who it is, but you know what? Give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs down. Leave some comments down there if you have any questions or observations. Hey, Miss Benita, Mr. Matt, Mr. Matt, Mr. Matt. If you're watching on YouTube, you know what? Hit the subscribe button, and all the videos of this series will come up, and you'll be notified of any new videos in the series on this car and future projects, which I've got a bunch lined up. A bunch. A whole bunch. And I'll be trying to fit those in and get to them as quick as I can. So YouTube is another good way. I'm going to start posting more of these, I think, on my business page and work on that some, but I've just been so busy with cars I hadn't had time to really mess with all that kind of stuff. But yeah, the ceramic coating is looking good, folks, looking good. it'll be it'll be cured enough for me to work some more with it later this evening. All right, guys, I appreciate you, each and every one of you, to taking the time to watch my videos and listen to me go on and on and on about this stuff, which I can do. I could talk about this stuff forever. I appreciate everybody. It's good to see some old friends on here that I haven't been able to see in a long time. And I do appreciate you guys. Thank you.